A U.S. soldier is believed to be in the custody of North Korea after crossing the border from South Korea on purpose. According to U.S. defense officials, the soldier had been facing disciplinary action by the U.S. military and was literally on his way back to the U.S. as a result after serving 47 days in a South Korean detention facility. According to CBS News, Private Second Class Travis King was going through airport security with a military escort when he somehow managed to get away and join a civilian group tour of the DMZ. Officials report he was scheduled to be on his way to Fort Bliss in Texas, where, quote, the soldier was pending administrative separation actions for foreign conviction, meaning he was likely about to get the boot. And despite what reportedly seems to be the work of one rogue guy with a history of disciplinary issues, U.S. forces are now doing all they can to get him back. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin spoke about it today.
One of our service members who was on a tour willfully and without authorization crossed the military demarcation line. We believe that he is in DBRK custody. And so we're closely monitoring and investigating the situation and working to notify the soldiers next of kin and engaging to address this incident. In terms of my concerns, I'm absolutely foremost concerned about the welfare of our troops.
Fortunately, it doesn't seem as though that soldier was as concerned about his own welfare. According to a person who was on that tour and claimed to have witnessed the incident, quote, this man gives out a loud ha 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 and just runs in between some buildings. The tour guide reportedly chased after him, not successfully. Here's what we know about Private Second Class Travis King. He's a junior enlisted officer assigned to U.S. forces in South Korea. There are about 28,000 soldiers currently stationed there. He was not in uniform at the time and appeared to cross the border voluntarily, though there's no indication that this was an attempt to defect. During typical Joint Security Area, or JSA, tours, participants remain about 20 yards away from the border. JSA is the most recognized portion of the DMZ between North Korea and South Korea. Tours are given to both the public and to armed forces to reinforce the stability of the area. In fact, the soldiers of both North and South Korea who are stationed in the JSA are not even armed as part of an agreement between the two countries. Joining us now is General Mark Kimmitt, retired U.S. Army Brigadier General and former Assistant Secretary of State for Political Military Affairs. General, thanks very much for coming on the show. Appreciate it. How much danger is this guy in now?
Well, if he is being held in one of the prisons involuntarily, he's probably having a tough time of it. As you know, when Otto Wimbier in 2016 was detained for simply taking down a propaganda poster, he was beaten severely, and within a year after being released, he died. So if the Koreans think that he is a danger or he is a threat to them, he's not going to have a good time of it. But I don't think that's the situation.
Why? What do you think the situation is likely?
I'm sorry, there's an audio problem there. You want to start over again?
Yep. What do you think the situation is more likely?
Well, I think he defected. This is a soldier who had received a court-martial, a bad conduct discharge, was going back to the States and to face an uncertain future. Hard to get any military benefits if you've received a bad conduct discharge. We've had this happen not many times in history, but about 7 times. American soldiers have gone over to the North, and candidly, they've lived a pretty good life as propaganda tools, but the North Koreans go out of their way to give them a house, give them a wife, give them money. So perhaps this guy thought he had a better deal on the other side of the border than he was facing back in the States.
Thank you for watching. Go to NewsNationNow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.